Hello, hello. Happy Saturday. It's time for the sip and draw. Give people some time to get here. And there we go. Okay. Where is everybody this evening? Where are you guys hiding? Oh, there's two people. Okay. Well, at least there's a couple people. Hello. Took a bit for anyone to show up today. Okay. So I will gab for a minute, I guess, wait for some people to arrive. We've got some people showing up now. We are drawing pairs tonight, a pair theme, something a little different than what we normally do. Your cider's half gone. Oh, the cider you poured. I hope you don't mean you've already consumed 6 of your 12 bottles. You will have a headache tomorrow for sure. I have had 2 already, but I shared them with my husband. We tried we tried the original, and then we tried the dry, and then I also bought a cherry, so I'm gonna drink that while we're drawing. The jalapeno, it's really good. I saved it because my I don't know, my tummy's been a little angry today, so I didn't want to introduce some jalapeno into it. But I've had the jalapeno before. In fact, the jalapeno was the only one I'd ever had. And I did eat one of the pears today. I ate one of these guys, these red ones. I don't know the difference in pears, so if someone from Hemley is around, you can tell us. But for those that got the boxes, there were all of these beautiful pears in there. And yeah, I tried this one. It was so good. So good. I love to take pears and cut them in half, and then I put blue cheese on them and a little bit of balsamic. So I can't wait to do that with these because I know this is a Bartlett because I read the sticker. No, I knew it was a Bartlett anyway. So I have some pears out for, when you're doing still life. That's kind of what we're doing here today. You want to have some pears, whatever you're drawing, you kind of want some handy to look at for shapes. I'm doing a little bit of a combination of the pears. I'm kind of melding pears together into, I'm kind of more taking the shape of this one, that long shape. Look, it has a little butt. And then doing a little bit of red and a little bit of green. So you will see what we are doing here shortly. So you do, okay. So for those who didn't see the post, tonight is different. Tonight is a little bit more of a realistic drawing, which, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. It's not my forte. It's not my strong suit. But, I went for it. It's one of those things that I look at the drawing, which you'll see the drawing I did here in a second. I could keep working on it. I could keep trying to perfect the shading and the layering of the colors. So we're not doing outline because once you add that black outline, you really take away from a realistic look. You know, some realism drawings, you do still do that black outline, but in something like this, I think the minute you put that black outline, you really give the drawing like a cartoon. It just kind of suddenly makes it kind of more cartoony. So we're not going to do the outline. You can follow along with like my shape and style of pear, or you can run with it and base it off of one of your own. You know, if you want to do something that's a little more stubby and you want to do this red, but you know, look at your pear, because like over here, this is a really dark, deep red, but then I have these lighter shades and I almost have these freckles, like there's freckles on the pear. This pear has like a yellow freckle, little freck to it. So you kind of want to look at your pears and, you know, this one has like little tiny green spots all over, but it's more yellow on this side. So, you know, you can use one of your pears as like a guide. You can just kind of do one on your own or base it off of mine. There is not going to be trivia tonight. I tried to do like pear trivia. There just really wasn't enough to pull off a whole trivia about pears. So we're going to do kind of something towards the end. I don't know. I haven't quite decided how to do it, but we'll still have some sort of giveaway. At the end of the night, someone will get something. Have your drink. Here's mine. Oh, and my cute Miss Piggy glass. Cheers. I'm drinking the Cherry Perry, I think is what it was called. It's delicious. And we will drink every time I say the word pear and every time I say the word shade. So you got two tonight, pear and shade. So let's flip you guys around and show you what we're drawing. See, I put my sticker up there. So there we go. There is my pear. So again, I am not the, you know, realistic drawing is not my style. It's not something I typically do. At first, when I was drawing this and I was coloring it, I really hated it. And then you just kind of have to keep going. So you have to keep going and you have to keep layering and layering and layering colors. So this is why I say the blender pencil, it's going to be your friend. If you have one, please use it. If you do not have a blender pencil, then all colored pencil sets, even the cheapest ones, have white pencils. You can use that to blend with. You can even use like a really pale, like peach colored, anything that's very like light in color will work as a blender. So if you don't have a blender, don't feel like, you know, you can't do it. It is not going to be way over your skill set, Robin. Just wait and see, because I do not do this ever myself. And like I said, when I first got started, I thought, oh my gosh, this is a hot mess. There is no way I'm teaching people how to do this. But I kept going and I'm overall like pretty pleased with it. So that is what we are doing tonight. I'm going to turn my music down just a tick because I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube. It is not as hard as you think it's going to be. It is really all about layering. And you know, when you look at your pears, if you took some pears out to look at, like I said, there's all these little like imperfections in pears, these little freckly marks and lighter colors and darker colors. So you can kind of, again, just keep layering color. That's really the ticket to a drawing like this. So to begin, I am going to draw my pear shape. So you don't have to follow this exact shape. You know, a pear is very pearish. It's bigger at the bottom and smaller up at the top. It's kind of the same shape we would do if we were drawing like a gourd. So I'm going to do this curve first. And I kind of want a longer neck. So it's just kind of wider at the bottom and it just kind of flows into the narrow part. But you know, if you're drawing a pear that's more like this, well, this pear is very stubby. This pear is almost more apple shaped. It just has a tiny little point at the top. And I am not looking for a mirror image here. Like right now, this line is a little stubbier than this line. This one's a little bit longer. I want to leave that because pears aren't perfect. They're just not perfectly symmetrical. They have all these little interesting curves, or, you know, if they're super cute, they have butts. I really like that little pear butt right there. And then I'm going to give my pear a stem. So I'm just going to do a line that starts inside of my pear and comes up. I'm going to angle it upward and then bring it back in. I'm not worried about the line cutting across. All of my lines are going to get covered with pencil. What I can tell you is that, you know, I had to push pretty hard for you guys to be able to see it on camera. You do not need to push as hard. And then from my stem, I wanted to do a leaf. So I'm going to just do 2 long skinny lines. This side of the leaf will go into the pear. Right? I like big butts. And oh my gosh, if you are drinking every time I say pear, you are already half in the bag. Even I'm not keeping up. And then I'm going to have this side of the leaf kind of come in and out. Yeah, I don't love that leaf shape right there. So I'm just going to erase this right here and fix this line a little bit. There we go. If you do make any like really mistake lines like that line I just did, you do want to erase that because again, you will see it. We're not doing any big erasing in this. We're not, you know, outlining in pen and then erasing a bunch at the end. We are just going straight into color. So I have, you know, decided, sorry, I was going out of focus. I'm going to stick with this kind of combo of the 2 different pears, like the pear that is starting to red with some of this green. So I'm going to start on that red side. And I am just going to kind of come along my line. And again, since I had to press so hard with my pencil, I'm going to see my pencil line a bit. And I'm just coming down along the edge of this pear, outlining the pear in the red shade I want to use. And I'm ending that outline wherever I kind of want the red to stop. So if you want the red to come further, or maybe you're doing an almost all red pear, then you're going to outline it more than I am. I'm just coming again kind of along this side edge, bringing in red. And now I'm just going to start coloring. When you're doing something like this where you're going to be shading and layering a lot of colors, you don't want to start off pushing hard because you can't go back. You can't take color away, but you can add color in. So start with a light touch, and then if you want it darker, make it darker. And I kind of have it where this edge is the darkest point. So see how I keep kind of going over that? And then I'm blending that out. Into the pear. And I promise you, it is going to look really funky to you at first. You're going to put colors in, and then you're going to start layering them, and you're going to think, oh my gosh, what is going on here? But the more you keep layering, the better it'll look. And I'm going to keep it pretty even as far as like how much of this side I'm coloring, except for right in here where the pear gets narrow. I'm actually going to add the red out a little bit further. And I'm just bringing it darker along that edge. Now, on my other side, I'm starting with green. So I'm just coming along, again, that edge line, making it green. And I might layer in even some darker greens once I get more of it colored. Bringing that green all the way around. And I'm keeping this pretty narrow because I'm going to add actually a darker color in here. I want this to look a little bit more shaded, and the lightest and brightest portion of green will be kind of here in the middle. So I'm starting with just a little bit along this edge I will even bring a little bit of the red over here. But for now, just kind of adding a little green in, so at least I get, you know, kind of the shape of the pear, the outline, so I don't have just all pencil. And very obscure sounding, but I'm going to get a violet, and along this area I'm going to have kind of a darker shaded section. And then some right down in here. And if you're thinking, what? She did not put violet in her original drawing. I didn't see violet anywhere in that. This is the violet right here. See how it ends up changing into another color when you put that green on? But I don't want it to be brown. If I put brown there, it'll be too harsh. So the violet works a little bit better for the shade. And now I'll take this green and I'm going to bring it all the way over to that violet line. Don't worry too much about your stem. We'll add that in after. And I want to have some areas that I leave white. They aren't going to stay white, but I want there to be a little bit of like reflection, you know, just how we kind of do circles of light in eyes. We're going to kind of have some reflection within the pear. So I'm going to now kind of come in with a yellow, and I'm going to put a lot of that in this middle area, but I'm going to leave a couple little spaces where there's just white. So right now we're just kind of adding a bunch of color to the base, and then we're going to end up layering these colors even more so on top of each other. This is where I want the brightest section of my pear. And now I'm going to take this yellow and come in over that red, blending it in a bit. Filling in white space. Softening the edges. Do it a bit on the purple. I'm not going to go all the way over the purple or the violet. Just kind of coming along the edge there. Let's get that green again. Pushing harder now. Going over the top of that violet area, which you'll see is now just shading. Bringing green over into the red. Still leaving these little white areas. They won't stay white. The blender pencil will actually blend color into them. And you don't need to put green in the whole red space, but you do want just a little bit of green showing up in there. And I'm going to actually do another shade of green too. This is just my first layer. Of green. Hand hurts, let's sip. Pear. And like I said, really, when I was doing this earlier, I was about here and I thought, this is never going to work. But you just keep layering and it'll end up coming together. And once we bring that blender pencil in, it will even blend it out more. So, cheers. I'm going to take another green. Bring it in here. Layering on top again. Adding more green in. This one's a little bit brighter than the other. Yeah, the peacock was a fun one too for the blending. I thought about doing this in the watercolor pens, and you know, it probably would have been a little bit easier to do in those because they lend themselves to blending better. But sometimes it is fun to challenge yourself. So working in the pencil is doing that. And where'd that, did I drop a pencil? Oh, I did, there it is. I lost my violet. I'm gonna bring more of the violet over here so my kind of edge is a little more shaded. My kind of bottom edge. And you doing a real like circular motion with your pencil, like right now I'm coming kind of along that edge line of the violet and just going in circles, and it kind of helps blend out some of the hard line, the hard edge. And then I'm going to come in with the red again and put some of the red back in on top, kind of blending it out into this yellow and green. Pushing a little bit lighter so it just picks up a little, you know, those pears have that little bit of freckle. This kind of gives it a little bit of freckle. And you can even come in and do some like dots, push, make some little spots. Add a little bit of red in where this shaded violet is, down here at the bottom too. I admire people who do this kind of stuff all the time, who, you know, especially when they do faces and people, I can't even begin there. I might be able to pull off a half-ass pear, but you're not going to find me trying to realistically draw a human being and shade it in. I have mad respect for people who do that. I just discovered this woman on Instagram who draws, she actually draws booze bottles, and she works all in black, all in, you know, pen, ink, pencil. And she draws bottles of booze, and it is just some of the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And she'll do those fast motion videos, and it's pretty spectacular to watch. And they look exactly like the booze bottle she's drawing. So once you kind of have a good amount of color in there, now you're going to want to come in with that blender and start blending. That's what it's for. Or your white. Like I said, you can do a white as well. And you're just kind of looking to try to blend out some of that edge, create a blurring effect in that edging. So your red isn't just like ending in a sharp line. And you're actually, when you're doing with the blender pencil, like I said, you kind of end up picking picking color up. So I'm picking that red up and I'm bringing it out into the pear. And you'll see that too when we go over these white spots, because we're going to deposit some color into them. But remember, when you're doing this, don't swipe on your page. Don't do a wipe, because you'll spread it all over the place. Hi, Tammy. I'm using a little bit of my nail. It got built up too much right there, so I'm just scraping some of that pigment off. Okay, so I'm going to take this and go right over those white spots, and it's going to make them just a lighter little reflection spot. And you just kind of blend everything, and then you'll look at it again and see, do you need to go back in? Do you need to add more color? Do you need another layer of green? Do you need another layer of red? Do you need to hit it with your yellow? I definitely want to hit mine with a little bit more green and yellow in here. I'm going to take this little guy right here. I'm going to go over those little spots. I'm also going to take a darker green. I have like a darker army green that I'm going to take into this bottom area that I'm kind of making a little bit darker. You need more wine. Put a little bit of it in here. And like I said, this is one of those things where you can just keep going and keep going and keep going. You can definitely keep shading, keep shading. I'm going to add even a little bit of like an orange so it blends a little bit more from this red to an orange to a yellow. Oh, and see, the thing is I think it probably looks better than you think. You know, it's one of those things when you're doing realistic, it's a totally different beast. And it's harder. It's, you know, I sometimes I look at something like this and I think, oh, forget it. Just throw googly eyes over it and call it good. Because I'm so used to drawing everything just kind of silly and animated. Because to me, that's an easier style to draw. It's easier for me to draw that. See, I feel like this one, the violet came through really dark, where in the last one it was much lighter. But also probably once I get my stem in and my leaf, it'll look a little bit better. And I'm getting a lot of like muddied look right there. That's why I keep scraping it with my nail. But you got to just keep going, keep sticking with it. Keep layering. This also probably would have been a lot easier for me to do with bring back the Golden Girls. This probably would have been easier to do, even for me, if I used the Prismacolor pencils, because they do blend better than these ones that I'm using. They layer a little bit better, but I wanted to just I'm like scratching my paper at this point. Okay, I'm gonna leave that for now. And then I'm going to come into the stem, and I'm going to start the stem with brown. And this is going to seem really weird. But start some brown in there. Say pear a few more times. Everybody, just take a minute to look at your pears. Become one with your pears. I feel like we do need to like channel Bob Ross during this one. Yeah, see my red side. I'm not loving it as much. And this is what happens too, you guys, is sometimes I pre-draw and then I draw for you and I think, oh God, the pre-drawing came out so much better. Oh, you're still using the Crayola crowns. You should have a white crayon. I always say crowns. I always have ever since I was a kid. And maybe if you like your red side better, you know, add more red over to the other side. Like, see, I could even put a little bit of red over here. Or just make this a little bit more red. So maybe it makes a little bit more sense. It's looking very brown to me. And I am going to do this leaf in the same green that I'm using in the pear, but I'm going to push very, very hard. And then we're going to add another color layered in here to make it look a little bit more realistic and to have the stem have a little bit of depth to it. But to begin, I'm just going to push really hard on that green, saturate that leaf with a lot of color. Okay, see, I like it already a little bit better, just even having the leaf colored. Now, this is going to seem crazy, guys, but I'm going to take blue, just much like the violet, and I'm going to run some blue along the edge of that stem, just kind of on one side of it, and then down into this guy. And then this blue is what I'm actually going to use to add detail into my leaf. So I'm adding like a line kind of down the middle like a leaf would have. And then I'm going to shade up near the top. I'm going to run blue along this edge line of the pear so the leaf ends up separated from the pear a bit. I'm going to add a little bit of this blue behind the stem to give a little depth to the top of the pear. And then take this blue and do some shading that kind of comes wide and then gets narrow. So it gives that leaf texture to it. So see how it ends up giving it like a leaf texture? And that blue stands out, but once it's on top of the green, it doesn't look so blue. It just ends up looking like a darker foresty green. And then you can also come in, you know, and put like a little more brown over it if you feel like it's looking too blue, or just to help blend a little bit up here at the top. You can come in with your blender. Where'd my blender go? There it is. And blend in this leaf some. So you don't have such hard edges. So what's everyone drinking tonight? If you didn't get pears, if you didn't get the pear box, I gotta say I was very impressed with the pear box. So if you didn't get an order in, you can still use that code until the 10th to place an order. The pears alone that came in that box were beautiful. And like I said, we've now tried really all of the ciders because I've had the jalapeno before, and it is very, very, very good. They don't ship out of state. They are within California only. Oh. 16 pears. It was beautiful. Oh, I was impressed. I was not expecting, actually just really wasn't expecting that many pears. I mean, I knew what ciders were in the box, but I wasn't expecting all of those pears, and it was tasty, the pear I had. And I'm just kind of, again, going back in here, guys, and just adding more colors. Yeah, the box was amazing. I'm going to take a little bit of... See if I can add a little whiteness down here. I want a little light spot in my pear. Another little one. Now, you're not limited to doing just this one pear. I know some of you are probably like, lady, please. All I can handle is one pear. But if you want to do, a couple others behind it, do the different styles of pears, you can do that. It doesn't have to be just this one pear. You could also take some of your, take your pen, like, I wouldn't go with my super bold pen, but I might come in with like this really fine tip pen and just add some of that freckling into it, which you can just barely see. I mean, you guys can't see this for sure on your camera. But yeah, you could have some of that spotty, speckly detail. The pear freckles. Never realized how much all the different pears have freckles. I'm going to put them more heavily over off to this left side, so they're not perfectly even. And yeah, they had really great customer service. I mean, a couple people, we had some trouble with the coupon code, and they fixed that for people. And then I think some people's deliveries got a little bit wonky, and they fixed all that today and delivered pretty far outside of their area. So that was pretty awesome. Now, I don't want to add any more pencil quite yet. I could still layer some color in this, but because I've done all these little pen dots, I need a little bit of time for them to set. And because there's so much pencil layered on my paper right now, it's going to take a little bit of time. I got one little smidge of blue out here I'm trying to get rid of. it's green. Can't win. Can't win. Pear. Pear. Now, for the base, I'm still going to add a little bit of coloring within here. I think I'm going to throw a little bit more yellow in. But I like having, you know, this base as if the pear is kind of sitting on something. So I'm just using, this is a steel gray. You don't have to do a gray, but I'm just doing some shadowing down here at the bottom. So I just kind of started off with like a little bit, and then I'll come down more and push a little harder, usually on like one side, so it just looks like it's casting a little bit of a shadow on that side. And it just kind of grounds the pear. Now, you can go the extra mile and really draw something that your pear is sitting on, maybe a table, maybe it's in a bowl. I always think of still lifes like that, right? Like you have this like bowl with the bowl of fruit, still life. And just really coming dark right along that bottom edge of the pear. And I'm going to find another yellow. See if it shows up any different. And see, I can see where my pen is smudging. I just got some smudging in there. So I'm going to try to avoid the areas where I put that little bit of dotting. But I'm going to hit these areas that were whiter with that bright yellow. Now that you came back with your refill and look, it's not so bad. Yes, sometimes you just have to, sometimes you do really just have to step away. Sometimes you also just have to stop. You know, you can keep going and keep shading and keep covering forever. And sometimes you just have to stop and say, you know what? That's good, folks. Because I think too, you know, there is such a thing as doing too much. And then you kind of end up with like a muddy look. Trying to avoid that right now myself. And like for me, you know, this area right here, I feel like I made that too big. I should have done a little bit less, but I can't go back and fix that. So it is what it is. So I know we didn't do any sort of trivia. This is actually a pretty quick sip and draw tonight as well. Makes up for the ones that are like 3 hours long. So here's the deal is post your picture, and I will randomly pick someone who posts their picture to send something to. So in order to potentially get sent a little piece of mail, you need to post your picture. So you can post it in the Facebook, just in the group, or you can post it into a pear album Either counts. But share your art, and you potentially can get a little gifty in the mail. Because I want more people sharing their art. So I'm going to bribe you. Share your art with me. I know, right? When I look the next day, when I wake up, because usually some people finish, that night. Some people finish the next day. I love waking up and like looking at the group and seeing all the different albums or seeing all the different photos. Seeing what people do. It's really nice. So, share your art with us. I would like to see more art. And if you do, you might get sent something in the mail. I'm even going to grab another green because I just can't stop tonight. The schedule is changing for those that did not notice. We will be having sip and draws going forward on the first and third Saturday of each month. So we will have a sip and draw next Saturday, next weekend, and then there will be a break for the rest of August. And then the first Saturday in September will be the next one. So basically, it's kind of an every other week thing. I have totally scratched away paper there. Yeah, it's like an every other week thing. But, certain months when they have 5 Saturdays, like this one does, it will create a little bit bigger of a gap, but they won't be every Saturday now. I just covered. I'm weaning you. I really don't intend to ever stop this, guys. So, I get asked that, like, are you ever going to stop? I really don't have an intention to stop. So, I really would have some sort of major life thing happen in order to just quit because I really enjoy it. But I need a little bit of me time, a little bit of family time. I always say this took off more than I ever anticipated. I really never intended to be drawing this long, but I won't ever quit. I just need a little bit more break because my fear too is if I don't, then I'm going to get burnt out and I'm going to completely stop. I've had a couple of like burnout moments, but, never enough to call it quits. And I think the more I give myself a little bit of break, the better it'll be for me. All right, I think I'm good here. I'm kind of just adding a little bit of random red throughout. So I think that is it for me for my pear. I'm excited to see yours. I know a lot of you probably are looking at yours like, I don't think it's good enough. This is so weird. But like I said, please share. I would love to see yours. I'd love to see what you guys did. You can keep working on it. You are welcome. You have all kinds of time right now. And maybe you will step away from it. And then tomorrow you'll look at it again and you'll think, this is what I need to do differently. This is what I need to add. And you'll make some little adjustments. But don't forget to share. I will look at the group tomorrow when I get up in the morning and check everybody's out. And then I'll pick someone at random. I'm just going to use a random app picker. to send somebody something. I'm not picking based on talent or anything like that. So let me flip you guys around and give you a proper goodbye. There we go. So thanks again. I know this was a much quicker sip and draw, which in some ways was kind of nice. I didn't even finish my cider. Kind of fun to do something a little bit different. I'm looking forward to seeing your art. We will be back next Saturday. I don't know what we're doing yet. If you have suggestions, you can leave comments here. Just start telling me what things you would like to draw. Thank you for the donations. A lot of you have been sending your $5. I really appreciate it. Some of you send more than that. You might be paying in advance. You might be just donating more. That's you. You do you. Again, like I said, I'm never coming after you to ask you where your $5 is. I will post a link. Dwayne, if you're still here, you can share it in the comment thread too. But I will post a link of where you can make your donation. And we'll be back next Saturday for our final August sip and draw. And then we'll have a little break until September. The schedule is now also posted in the header of the group. So if you forget what's happening going forward, or you want to know how things are changing during the weekdays, just look in that group header to find out. Share your art. I'll look tomorrow. I'll pick someone at random and send you a piece of happy mail. If you are selected, I will message you for your address. So love you guys. Happy pairing.